Hello, today I'll be showing you how to make U.S. Army Field Bread Recipe 1916. This recipe was used by the U.S. Army during the First World War to feed its soldiers out in the field. Here's how you make it. First off, you're going to need 48 ounces of bread flour. Mix the flour in a separate bowl. Here's a tip. If you're mixing large amounts of flour, use a specialized measuring pitcher, preferably one with measurements on the side in both ounces and cups. This is useful if you're doing conversion ratios. When you're done, pour the flour into the primary mixing bowl. The next ingredient is 1.5 ounces of sugar. You can use white sugar or cane sugar refined, but don't use brown sugar. The next ingredient is a little odd because of the amount used. 0.9 ounces of salt. For a baking recipe, this is a lot of salt. There is a benefit to this, however, that being that it'll make the bread last a very long time. Now, for the next ingredient, 0.25 ounces of vegetable oil. The original recipe called for cottonseed oil, but this is not strictly necessary. Any kind of vegetable oil, olive oil, peanut oil, sesame seed oil will work. The next ingredient is yeast. You're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of instant dried yeast. Here's a note. Do not pour the yeast into the teaspoon over the bowl. This is one ingredient you do not want to go overboard on. Next, for the water, the final ingredient. The recipe calls for 24 ounces. Now for the mixing. The mixing will be difficult. The dough will be extremely stiff, extremely dense, and really uncooperative. In fact, you may need to change positions at your table so that you'll be able to get a better grip on both the bowl and the mixer. Mix until the dough looks something like this. Now for the difficult part, kneading the dough. First, get some flour. Rub it on your hands. This may seem counterproductive. Don't worry, it isn't. Now, pick up the dough. Don't forget to wash your hands before you do this. Pick up the dough. Clear your kneading surface. Grab another handful of flour and throw it all over the surface. The reason you do this is because flour stuck to the outside of the dough makes it a lot less sticky and easier to manage. It won't stick to your hands, the surface, or anything else. If you find it is becoming more sticky, add more flour. Knead like so for about 5 minutes. When you have something that looks like this, prepare it for rising. Form it into a circular shape that's about 6 inches long and 2 inches thick. Now let it rise for 4.5 hours. After 4.5 hours have passed, get something really heavy and beat down the bread. Then let it sit for another hour, and then mold it so that it's about 11 inches in diameter and 1 1/2 inch in thickness. Finally, poke a hole right in the middle, like so. This allows the gas to escape, leaving you with a dense loaf less liable to crushing. Now throw in the oven at 340 degrees for 1 hour 20 minutes. Don't forget to preheat the oven. And this is what you should get when you're done. That's how you make U.S. Army Field Bread 1960. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.